Here we go.
So I think we're live. Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Folds, and I am a brand communication coordinator at Tbaytel. And I'm very happy to be here this morning because it is August 21st already, which is crazy.
Already.
Yeah. And so that means that we are launching officially today the Fall 2018 Tbaytel for Good Community Fund campaign. So we're very excited about that, and we're happy that you are tuning in live to join us. And we are here today with a number of our judges from our selection committee who will kind of talk to you a little bit about sort of what we look for in ideas, you know, as you're putting your submissions together, what kind of tips and tricks they can give you, which will help you hopefully have more success when you actually do submit your applications. So for those of you who don't know, Tbaytel for Good is a program that we started at Tbaytel actually way back in the fall of 2013. So we're on year 5 now because it was the fall with our education campaign. So it's hard to believe that many campaigns have gone by so far. But in that time, the sort of program has evolved and kind of taken on different faces, and we've done some tweaking and some restructuring of it. But in that time, we've actually proudly been able to support 63 projects in communities all across Northern Ontario in our serving territory to the tune of $151,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So it's something that we basically, you know, every employee at Tbaytel, it's kind of one of those things where it really is something that we're all proud to be a part of because it's that grassroots sort of, I guess, setup that we don't really. Are you following us?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we're live. It's working. And so, yeah, basically we've been doing it for 5 years now, and we're excited because we're on to the fall campaign for 2018. So basically how it works, I want to go through just a little bit before we get into the judges, introducing yourselves, and kind of getting into the nitty-gritty about what we're looking for. But this year, the way it works, it's the same as the spring 2018 campaign, where the whole sort of idea is to support projects that help create stronger, healthier, and more vibrant communities. And again, that's everywhere within Tbaytel's serving territory. It's not just here locally in Thunder Bay. And we've seen a lot of regional ideas that really were kind of mind-blowing in a sense that, you know, that creativity and that ingenuity and sort of what seemingly may make a sort of bigger difference than you think, it really does, which is, you know, pretty exciting. Yeah. So how it works, we have 3 funding categories for this year, same as the spring, which I think worked really well, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah. And how it was more accessible and kind of, I think, really just brought the quality of the submissions up from kind of what we've seen in the past, but also we had some people resubmit, which was great. So this year we are offering 2 prizes in the $500 category. We are offering 2 in the $1,500 and then 2 in the larger $5,000. So basically it's very simple. You submit your idea, you go online at our website, tbaytelforgood.net. And then from there, the selection committee, who will meet in a moment, narrows down a short list for the 2 higher price categories and actually selects the $500. So it's a lot of pressure for you guys. And I used to be a judge, so I'm like, this is great. Now I'm the facilitator because I was like really taking things to heart there. And I was like, nobody's okay. No big deal. And then from there, obviously, it goes to public voting, which we will talk about a little bit in terms of the video component for those 2 higher categories. And you guys are all shaking your heads because like, we want to talk about this. Yes, some tips and tricks. So again, we have, which I think is a great thing about Tbaytel, a fly again. One of the great things about Tbaytel for Good is we do have a selection committee with a number of different judges. Some are employees of Tbaytel, which is great because, again, it's something they take a lot of pride in this program. And then we also have community judges who come from sort of a range of different backgrounds, who bring something different to the table, which is actually a good thing because sometimes when you guys are reviewing ideas, you know, there's things that someone might bring up where that's their area, where it's like, you know, arts and culture, where it's like, actually, you know, that's maybe not enough money to even start this project or get it off the ground. And, you know, one of the things not coming from that background, someone might not think about that. So that's what I love about our judging panel. So I'm going to start. I'm going to ask you to kind of go around and introduce yourselves, tell everybody watching on Facebook who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Katie. I do work for Tbaytel. I'm the brand manager at Tbaytel and manage the Tbaytel for Good program, among other things. But it's one of the responsibilities that is a major source of pride for me. So it's been awesome being able to work on this program for the last 5 years and see it evolve and see all the fantastic ideas that are submitted. There's lots of submissions that were really, really good that might not have quite made a winning grade, but lots of great ideas out there, and it's so awesome to see them.
My name's Jennifer, and I've been a fundraiser in Thunder Bay for over 25 years, so it's really exciting to be on the other side of the table, where instead of the person doing the proposal, seeking the funds, I now have the opportunity to be one of the people deciding where those funds are going. And I'm a Tbaytel customer, and so it's very exciting to get involved with a business that you're giving back in the communities that you serve, and I think that that's really important, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. I think this is my third or fourth year. I can't recall.
I think it's 4, actually.
It might be 4 years.
Wow, maybe 3, but yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, it's crazy to think it's been 5 years since we introduced the program, but
yeah, and the quality, you're right, the quality of applications has improved. It makes it much more difficult each time you go around to narrow it down, but it's interesting to see that when the really good one comes in, how we all get excited about it, and quite often there's a unanimous decision there. So
sometimes there's so many good ones where I'm like, hey guys, like
but as I know we're going to talk a little bit later about tips and things like that.
Absolutely.
So I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Marilyn, and I'm retired. I have a background in community development and spent the last 16 years working in arts and culture field, and about 10 of those directly working with applicants around applying for grants. So, and as well, prior to that, in my community development work, I applied for grants. So I've been on both sides of the table. And I'm really excited to be part of this. There's just so much opportunity in Northwestern Ontario for projects that are serving the community. And what we hope to do today is to assist you in thinking about how you're applying and what your best chance of success is, because it's a competition.
Exactly.
And there's only so much money to go around, and we wish we could provide more, but it's awesome that Tbaytel is even doing this in our community. So we'll talk later about some tips, but I think my biggest thing is to say, whenever you're applying for a grant, you're answering questions, but you're telling a story, and we're responding to it as if we're reading a story.
Absolutely.
So the more the story is clear and makes sense, the clearer we are about what it is you're doing, and then that raises your chance of success within the process.
so glad you guys are here.
Yes.
Wouldn't be much of a conversation. I'm Shannon. I'm not retired. I'm a Tbaytel employee and work with Katie and Laura on our brand team, and I'm a brand communication coordinator. One aspect of my job is our corporate sponsorship program, which I love as well. This Tbaytel for Good Community Fund is a little bit different in our eligibility is different. We get different applications from groups that wouldn't qualify for our corporate program. So we get lots of really great different ideas through this community fund that we don't see in our corporate sponsorship. So this is an exciting and a different way that we see people come up with great ideas to do good in our communities, and how we can direct some funding to those groups and ideas too.
You guys stole my next question, which was, what is it that you love about being a judge? But I think we've kind of covered that, and I think, again, sort of the nice thing about having a diverse group of people that bring different backgrounds to the table, different experience, is that, again, there's different viewpoints that even when I was a judge, I used to get to be a judge, but I was actually saying I enjoy not doing it now because it's a really hard decision and it's a lot of work. And for everyone tuning in too, I should say that everybody that comes and joins us from our community judging piece of it, it's all volunteer. So I know for the spring campaign, it just happened to fall on May long weekend where we're like, here's your stack. And again, we had great success with the spring campaign, so it was a big task.
Do you recall how many applicants there were?
I believe it was 86.
So that's
it was over 80.
Yeah, I believe it was 86 eligible because we had more come in, and then obviously you have to kind of review and do that pre-screening, which is to Shannon and Katie that falls on. But yeah, I believe it was 86. So thank you, because that was your lovely, and it was nice out this meal. So we appreciate that. But for everyone watching, that is something where it's that these people volunteer their time. So thank you for doing that.
And I should say there are judges who weren't able to be with
Yes,
us
yes.
today.
Thank you to them too.
Two more Tbaytel employees who work in our contact center, as well as another community judge, Paul, who is away on vacation right now. Hi, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
sure
not
you're watching. I'm sure you're watching.
So that being said, I think we kind of talked about what the responsibilities of the judges are, and that is to, once all of the submissions come in, they've been pre-screened just for eligibility, they get compiled into a list, and then the big task sort of comes in reviewing everything. They're scored based on a matrix, which keeps it fair, it keeps it easier in a lot of ways, but then harder because there's so many good ideas. So just for everyone watching, I wanted to kind of give you the brief sort of, as Marilyn was saying, you know, you answer questions, but you're kind of telling a story is really what you should be aiming to do, like helping to paint a clear picture of what it is that you're hoping to do. And one of the things that we really try to make clear is what's the community need that you're addressing. So what's the hole there, and what is it that this project plan will meet, and what need will it fulfill? So
and I have to say too, what I'm always looking for is I want to see the applicant articulate what is the impact,
yes.
Yeah.
and how are you able to measure the success of it, and how will you measure the success of
Yeah.
it? So someone might have a great idea, but if you really don't know the outcome that you're striving for, it makes it really difficult as a judge to say whether or not this is something worth pursuing.
Like, can they
So-
do this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what is it you're hoping to achieve, and how are you going to be able to measure the success, whether it's successful or not?
Yeah.
Those are important factors.
And again, this is why our judges are so good. They know what they're tasked with doing. But the four sort of categories are impact,
Yeah.
beneficiaries or end users. So what's the reach? You know, how many people will this help at the end of the day? Feasibility, again, can this be done? Is it something where they've put thought into it and really like plan this out accordingly? And then budget, obviously, like can the amount that you're applying for, because again, we ask you to select only one this year or this campaign, it'll be one 500, 1,500 or 5,000. So with that budget that you provide us with, is it actually something that can be done? So for everyone watching out there, pay close attention. You do have to go and read the eligibility criteria and submission guidelines before you
Yeah.
submit, and you have to check the box to tell us you've done it. So
Well, and to budget, the thing is that you may be applying for the $500 level, but you might have a budget that's more than $500.
Yes, yeah.
So tell us what else you're spending money on and where you're getting it from.
Yes.
Because if we see a project that is this big and you're only asking for this much money, we don't know how you're going to make that project happen. So
Yeah.
how do we know that our $500 is going to have any sort of effect on how you execute your idea? So let us know what else is going on with your project, but you don't need to go into huge detail about it. We do need to understand where, you know, what other resources you have, but definitely, you know, when it comes to the portion that you're applying for, that's where we need the detail. We need to know exactly what you're going to spend that money on and what those items cost. So really make sure you've got a really solid budget.
absolutely, yeah. So I guess that kind of brings me to like the next question. I know we sort of have our criteria and we know what we're looking for, and that again makes it balanced, it makes it fair, and it can make it either easier or harder sometimes, because you know they've met all the criteria, but I prefer this idea, but sometimes your scores come out the same. What is it that personally each of you guys look for? I know this program, again, we talk about, you know, it's really to ignite that positive change. So we've kind of built things into it, you know, is it sustainable? Will there be something that has a lasting impact? It's really something that we've talked about over the years and actually built into what we're looking for. So I guess we can kind of go around, or if anyone has any sort of tips that you look for within the criteria that really make ideas stand out, because we get that question all the time. I know Marilyn was saying that, you know, people are asking like, what is it that you're looking for? So what is it?
Well, I'll jump in because it's ticker tape going across
Yeah.
the head right now. It's who's driving the project.
Yeah.
And that comes across clearly if it's just one person's idea, if it's an administrative idea, or if it's actually involving those that are going to benefit from
Yeah.
it. And that's where the video becomes really important. And when we see those that will benefit from it, oftentimes it's young people, when we see them making the case for the project, well, for me, that just says they're involved. And there's a clear indication then that once they get the funding, they'll have the human force to be able to move it forward.
Yeah.
I have to say what's gotten me the most excited in the applications that we've reviewed in the past are those that build community. Because I'm finding our society is really changing. We don't necessarily know our neighbors anymore. And some of the projects that we've seen, they're really exciting because there's something that bring a community together, whether it's a neighborhood or whether it's in the school system. So sometimes, the schools that have applied, it's really cool when they want to do something in the schoolyard that their neighborhood is also going to benefit from, whether it's some type of garden or something along those lines. So for me, one of the biggest, most exciting is those ones that are building community.
And that's the reach sort of piece of it, the actual beneficiary part. Like, who is this for? Like, end user wise. And just for everyone watching too, for your knowledge, one of the great things, and again, we've kind of adapted the program and really tried to open it up and make it accessible and make it easy. I will tell you, it's a very simple process, and we'll talk a little about that when we kind of sign off for our Facebook Live. But one of the things about this that's so great, and to Shannon's point, our overall sponsorship, our community support program at Tbaytel is a little bit more rigid, and there's reasons for that. But what I love about this program is that it's so accessible. It's great. So for people watching, you might be someone who's involved with a volunteer association, schools, as you mentioned, neighbors. Not-for-profits, obviously, $5,000 can go a long way for some people who are, have a smaller fiscal operating budget for the year. Who else can apply? Neighbors can get together and sort of put an idea.
You don't have to be an actual incorporated or formal group.
You can be.
But you can be, and that's the beauty of the program, right? That basically what we're looking for is a driving force, as Marilyn said, that has the desire to create impact. And it's amazing what people can do with $500. It's absolutely mind-blowing. The great ideas we have at that level, and then of course right up to 5,000. It's so great to see those organizations that might not be eligible for the regular corporate sponsorship program. This gives them the opportunity to do those great things out in their communities. And I have to say, I do want to make the point that Laura made earlier is about the number of ideas we get from the region. So when we talk about the region, we're talking about all of those communities that are outside of Thunder Bay. And I didn't look before I came, but I would have to say out of the 63 winners that we've had, I would hazard a guess that almost half of them are from outside communities. And I know that I've sort of been hearing comments that, you need to make sure this program is available to customers across your serving territory, which by the way is basically from Kenora, the Manitoba border, up north to Red Lake, and then south to just outside of Sault Ste. Marie. So it's the size of France, Finland. It's the size of a major country, all right? So it's a big serving territory. Obviously not the population density that those countries have, but we have granted money throughout that whole area, and so we don't just concentrate on Thunder Bay. And what I love about the regional ideas is that the way they rally.
Absolutely.
When an idea is submitted from the region, I find that those communities get behind the ideas. They involve their media, they involve their community groups, and that's really key, that if your idea makes the shortlist and it's on the website for voting, you need to be out there advocating for it. You need to campaign for your idea. And I'm telling you, the regional folks, they got that down pat.
And so did Thunder Bay. I think last year what was great is we did have a few videos, but it was, associations or clubs or people just trying to get their smaller portion or even just a piece of their overall vision for their group off the ground. And so it was really like, you know, they used social media and they contacted existing contacts that they already had, and that's where you kind of see the success. So we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I don't mind that at all, because I think to that point, again, we'll kind of, I'll just go over. So for your submission guidelines, again, we've kind of said this, but I do want to touch on the point that, like, do your research a little bit about how the program works. There's also a few videos that we've recently done as well. You can go on the website and it has the whole list of every winner that's ever been successful at getting any amount of funding. So you can go on our website, tbaytelforgood.net/winners. And on that page, you can actually see sort of what the video looked like, or the photo, if it was just a photo for that particular campaign, and sort of what it looked like in terms of who benefited, you know, what their plan was going to be. And then we also recently did a series on 3 of our winners. And again, it kind of talks about overall the amount of money that we've given since the evolution of the program has started kind of taking flight. But they're very different, which I think I kind of want to talk a little bit about. You know, this program, as Katie said, is open to everyone in terms of who can apply, but also what you can apply for. We kind of took the boxes out with this, you know, in the 2018 launch in the spring. We kind of said, you know what, do funding categories and open it up to, you know, not one theme. It won't be thematic. It's not based on one thing. It's like, what's the need? Show us the need, and how do you want to fix it? So I kind of, just for everyone watching, this sort of, and again, I strongly suggest going on and like taking a look before you submit.
Because it might trigger an idea
Exactly.
as well,
You
especially
might
those
see
community
yourself.
ones
Sure.
in the classroom, that sort of thing. You might not know that you have that idea until you start watching it and think, yeah, I could do that. And just because something's been funded in the past at one school, that's not to say that we wouldn't consider it if another school applied to do the
Absolutely.
same thing.
Yeah.
Especially if it's been something really successful.
Absolutely. And to that point, actually, even past winners
Yeah.
can apply after a year.
1 calendar year, yeah.
So we've been running this since 2013. So all of you out there who have won in the past, if you still have projects ongoing, or if you have a new idea, then absolutely, yeah.
We do have some multiple
We
winners.
do.
Yes.
And again, it's they know the rules.
Yep.
And
Wait a year, apply, win again,
Sure.
wait a year.
Yeah.
And there's so many nonprofit groups that rely on grants and government funding for support, and I know from personal experience that there's many things that aren't eligible.
Yeah.
And this program really allows for you to go, what are we missing?
Yeah.
What is it that would make the quality of you know, what we do, our mandate, what would enhance it? Oh, it's not eligible here, there. Come in to look at this grant, look at the guidelines and the criteria, and you'll likely find that you can do a really straightforward ask for a need that isn't being met in other places. And the other thing that I love about this program is it's an incentive for groups, and we see it oftentimes, to go and approach another group, to approach a partner,
Yes.
and
I was
to
gonna ask you about
collaborate,
that.
to be a way to say, hey, we have this opportunity to apply for this amount of funding. Would you come in with us and provide some of that support? Sometimes it's volunteer support, sometimes it's space for activities that need to occur. So see it as an opportunity to think about ideas, yes, you may not have had, but a wish list that you may have had as well. And I heard people talking about saying, oh, I wish we had some money to do this, or the kids could do this, or the community could do this. Take a look at this program. And again, looking at the website, seeing who's been successful, you can see the range and, the whole breadth of opportunity that there is.
Huge spectrum.
Yeah.
I know we have to wrap up soon, but the one thing that I really wanted to make a point about is the videos that are submitted.
Yes.
I think what people may not realize is how important they are, because not only do the judges watch them and use them,
All of them.
Yes, all of them,
All of them.
and they're only a minute long, but a minute
Maximum.
can be very
Maximum 1 minute.
Yeah.
A minute can be very impactful, and but that is the only thing that people who are voting see. They don't see your application. They don't hear what the judges think of those ideas. All they know is they're up on the site and they have the opportunity to vote. So you need to tell your story to voters. You need to campaign for your idea. and you need that video to stand on its own to communicate your story.
It has to be very succinct.
Yeah.
You got to say what you're doing, why you're doing it, what's the outcome, how are you going to measure the outcome. You don't need to get into the budget on the video, but all of those things are critical. We've seen lots of videos where it's really nice imagery, but there's no explanation.
No story.
And unfortunately, if your application is really strong and that's your video, like Katie said, that goes up on the website. No one's really going to understand it. It's going to affect the voting. For
And
sure.
sometimes the video is about the organization and not about the project.
Yeah,
and
that's a
so
very good point.
you need to be telling the whole story all the way through and replicating that.
And a minute is enough time.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
had
and
some
you don't
great
need a
videos.
videographer.
No.
We're doing this on an iPhone today, and anyone can pick one of these up and make
At
a video.
Tbaytel.
I was like, it is a Tbaytel.
I hope so.
But yeah, to that point, I think part of it is it's not about production quality by any means. We've seen some really great videos, and I have to say, the schools we see some really cool videos, and it's the kids who are making them.
Yeah.
And that's something to me as again, I'm not a
Yeah.
judge, but I do get to watch them all as they come in, and it's like, I think the best part of them is actually the content.
Yes.
It really is.
for
And we kind of say, so again, as you go through it, I'm really harping on this because, again, there's a few ideas that come in where it's like they just missed this one thing, so they're not eligible, and it's too bad, or they weren't as successful in their application because you're like, I just had this one question, which was left unanswered. So again, as you're going through, you review the submission guidelines, but to record and upload your video no more than 60 seconds, or for $500 you just need a photo because that doesn't go to voting again.
Right.
That goes to voting for the judges. It goes to scoring, and then those two winners are selected by our judging panel. So it's a lot of pressure, but we actually say make sure that the image that you provide, if you can, as well as the 60 seconds that you put into that video, actually demonstrates what your project idea is all about. And key here, I think, is how it will meet your identified community need. So how is this going to work, and how is it going to solve your issue, or fill that hole that you might have had in your plan for the year, or whatever it is, right? So I think that's a key point as well, the videos. And I have to say, it's interesting to kind of take a step back and facilitate the judging session now, as opposed to being a part of it, because it's very strategic, but it's also, in a lot of ways, it's really emotional, because as Jennifer said,
Hugely emotional.
there's some ideas where it's like everyone says, this one might have stood out, but oftentimes, there's ones that are like neck and neck, and there's a lot of things where, that deliberation and that actual careful consideration that's put into it on all of your parts, it kind of brings a different viewpoint. So again, and I'm kind of just watching the feed to see if any questions are popping up, but if anybody has any questions that we haven't addressed here, feel free to get a hold of us. You could do so at tbaytelforgood@tbaytel.com. We check that every day, and we will get you all the information you need. But again, it's something where if you have questions, or you're unclear on something, reach out, because the whole point of sort of doing this panel coffee with the judges today is to give you that information and to sort of give you those tips and tricks that we see, and it's like, if we had just been able to tell them this. So that's the sort of goal of what we've done today.
And I just want to say, for anybody who's watching this that applied, that wasn't successful,
Yes.
come back in, and know that as we're sitting at the table looking at all these applications, we're absolutely overwhelmed by the generous spirit of people in this region for caring for their communities, for caring for one another. Oh, I'm going to get teary. And the range of applications, the range of need that's being looked at it's inspiring and hopeful for our community. So even if you're just watching this and you're not going to apply, go onto the website and take a look at some of the previous successful applicants, and it'll warm your heart as to what is going on that doesn't make it into the big news nowadays.
There's a lot of really good people out there.
Yeah, well, and that's sort of the whole part about Tbaytel for Good. It's, we always say, spread the good and share the good. But it's also, I think, one of the things that I love about the program is we actually work with them. We do follow-up reporting. When a winner takes the funding that they're provided with, we like to see what they're doing. And I think a big part of that is giving a lot of the good work that's already being done, that recognition, but also a platform to say like, hey, I live in Kenora and we just won this funding. Like, come help us or come see what we're doing.
Right.
Yes.
And it sort of is that change. We always say it's about igniting positive change, and I think what comes after that. So, so yeah, I think that kind of brings us to the end of the sort of tips and tricks that you guys wanted to share. Anything else to add?
Are we going to do our judges dance?
That's
No,
secret.
we're not.
That's secret.
I was like, is that why I don't get to be a judge?
And there's no Simon Cowell amongst us.
No,
All nice
no.
judges.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it does get fierce when it's like, you know, you're kind of down to those very shortlisting, and it's good. It's a good panel to have because they bring, I think, very well thought out points about ideas. So that being said, it is very easy to apply, like I said. So we're very excited because I just want to share some of the milestones. So we're launching today. So the website is live. Hey, you can go on and check it out. So we will be accepting submissions. Again, take into consideration what we've talked about. You do have a lot of time to get your submissions in, so you can really think and plan out and write out, you know, what it is that you want to do and share that with us. So you have until October 2nd, which is great. I think it's crazy because it's on August 21st and it's, you know, fall is right around the corner, but this does take you into the school year. It gives you some time to settle if you're a parent, a teacher, a student even.
On a school council, on a
Yeah.
parent council.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like the fall campaigns for that reason because it kind of gets everyone settled in. There's some time to organize, and that's why we've kind of over the years tried to extend that sort of initial piece of it, is to give people time to formulate their ideas and give you a better chance at having success, I think. So, and then again, we do the judging session, we call it, but it's really a good discussion, and it's a chance for the panel to get together and really like put that consideration and conversation into it. And then public voting for the semi-finalist videos for, like I said, just the 1,500 and the 5,000 levels takes place on October 15th is when voting starts, and then till the 29th. So there's a good window in there as well, where if you do make the short list, which is super exciting, you get your rallying in and you get your support behind it. So I love watching the voting. I think it's so cool, and you can kind of see
down to
like,
the wire.
oh yeah,
It's a
especially
horse race.
for spring. I was like, oh, this is so exciting. Like, and then the winner's announcement for all 3 categories will be November 1st. So
Wow.
Which will be here before you know
I
it.
know, absolutely.
So
So
we feel the cold.
Time flies.
So again, all the information you need, you can find it at tbaytelforgood.net. There's all sorts of cool information on there about, like I said, past winners, you know, sort of the features that we've done on these ideas and sort of what they're up to now, which I strongly suggest because it's really cool to see some of them. I won't tell you who we featured because you should just go watch them, but really, really neat ideas. And again, it might, like Jen was kind of speaking to, you might see yourself in the program and in the community fund by being like, you know what, that's exactly what we need. And I wouldn't have thought of that otherwise. So go take a look. We encourage you. We're also on Facebook. You can find us on the Tbaytel page that we're watching on now. We're on Instagram, and that is at Tbaytel for Good is the handle for that. We're also on YouTube, and you can find us for the major milestones tweeting about Tbaytel for Good on Twitter. So I think that's all I've got. Any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out. These are real people behind the scenes who, you know, we want to help you. We want you to have success in your application. So if you have any questions at all, reach out, and we're so excited to see what you guys have in store for us.
This was fun. We should
It's
like the view.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about next?
Yeah, Paul was it.
What else should we talk about?
So again, if you did have questions and we didn't get to them, I think we got everything. But again, reach out, and thank you so much for tuning in. This video will be up in real time, or
You
in
can watch it
non-real
over
time.
and over and over.
Yes.
So exciting.
Yes, so this is going to be a living thing now. So, but again, I wanted to say thank you for you taking your time to come and join us today.
Thank
And
you, Laura.
yeah, it's
Thanks,
exciting.
Laura. Yeah, and thank
Good
you.
luck.
Yeah, good luck. Bye, guys. Bye. Okay, now let me turn this off.
See you next time.
That was good. I enjoyed that, except for the